What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video. In today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video, I'm going to be responding to some of your guys' comments from the last video that I made talking about the brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links ban list, because there is a ton of stuff to talk about when it comes to that ban list. And for real, guys, thank you guys so much for the support on that video. That video's been doing better than my average videos. And the comments, like, dude, we have so many comments on that video. Like, it garnered like over 400 comments or something like that, which is a ridiculous amount of number for comments. But since I've been checking pretty much every comment from that video, I got a whole list of just comments that I want to talk about when it comes to be related to the ban list in today's video, because basically I'm going to be reacting to a ton of comments, and then I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on those comments and kind of talk a little bit more about the ban list and everything like that. Because with that video that I posted yesterday, or not yesterday, but my last video that I posted talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links ban list, it was my first reaction to the ban list, so I thought today's video would be a good opportunity to basically kind of react to some comments that you guys have been posting on my channel and give you guys some more of my insight when it comes to the ban list. So I hope you guys are excited for today's video. If you guys like this type of video and you want me to do some more reactions to future comments in my future videos, be sure to go hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links content. I guess you can go to the comment section down below on this video and tell me, what do you guys think about this kind of series idea? I think this could be a funny series idea if we get some funny comments, but there's also a lot of serious comments in today's video. And yeah, and I was definitely inspired by DZ's videos where he reacts to his comment section too, so there's definitely a resemblance to that for some of you guys. But still, it's going to be a very chilled out video for the most part, and without further ado, let's go talk about some of the comments from my ban list video, and I'll go give you guys some discussion about that. So the first one we got right here is talking about Cyberstyle. So we have two comments from here. We have two different comments from two different people, and it's pretty much the same thing, so I'm going to read both of them out and then explain my thoughts. So this first person that I blurred out their name, I blurred out both of the names because I don't want anybody to give them hate, and everything like that. I don't want you to go to their channels and give them hate or anything like that. So yeah, they weren't trying to balance Cyberstyle. It even says it in the description for its intended use, so I'm completely fine with Cyberstyle change. The second comment is also Cyberstyle is supposed to be only used for Zane, so that change is perfectly fine for me. Also, the same decks have been into the top of the meta for a long time now, and I'm glad Konami is trying to force players so that PvP and stagnant doesn't get stagnant and boring. I can see Blue Eyes and Synchro rising up with the release of the new EX structure deck. So I have nothing against these comments. I really do not have anything against these comments. The reason why I wanted to showcase these comments though and talk about Cyberstyle is basically my opinion on the Cyberstyle nerf. Now that it's been a few days after the ban list, I want to give more of my thoughts and feedback when it comes to this new ban list. And one thing I gotta say too is that I agree with the Cyberstyle nerf. I think in my reaction video I didn't really specify that I agree with the Cyberstyle nerf and that it probably needed to happen, but the thing is, for me personally, I really like Cyberstyle. Cyberstyle was a skill that I had a ton of fun using. It was a ton of fun to use in Cyber Dragon decks, because fun fact, did not use Cyber Style and Cyber Dragon decks, but basically I use it in a ton of tribute decks. It can work with synchros, and I probably should, before the skill get nerfed, so I should probably try it out with some synchro decks and everything like that. But still, it's pretty decent for synchro decks. If you wanted to use it, you could have used it in tribute decks, and I really liked the use for Cyberstyle and how versatile it was for those different types of decks, that you could use it for a lot of different ways, and there's just a ton of decks that gained some advantage from it. But at the same time, yes, their intended use for Cyberstyle was so that you can summon Cyber and Dragon into the game, because since they didn't give us any copies of Cyber Dragon in the first place, using that skill can summon 3 Proto Cyber Dragons, because it allow you to get Cyber Dragon onto the board and basically fusion summon into Cyber and Dragon. So I understand the purpose and why they nerfed it, because they originally intended it to only be used for fusion summoning in the first place. But the fact is that, us being players, we're kind of creative with the skill, learning different ways on how to use the skill than what it was intended to, and we were able to build some really cool decks with it. So it does suck, in my opinion, that it did get nerfed. It probably did needed to get nerfed, because in future decks, that are going to be released in the future, they could have been like, Cyberstyle is kind of a broken skill if you think about it, because if we got future decks in the game that are tribute heavy, Cyberstyle would help out with that so much. So it's just one of those things where it's just like, yes, I understand the nerf and I agree with it, but it's just that I liked it. I liked the skill a lot. It was one of my favorite skills that they added into the game, so the fact that they nerfed it sucks for me, but I do agree with it. So that's kind of my little rambled opinion shenanigans right there. Sad that it happened, but I agree with it. So that's kind of the thing right there. So that's kind of like what I wanted to bring up. And then another thing too, which I did find was funny, is that there was someone else commenting, I'm okay with this. Cyberstyle is basically cheating and those Amazonist decks were annoying. I agree, Amazonist decks are super annoying, but I didn't think Cyberstyle was basically cheating. Like, there was no cheating from there. They clearly implemented it into the game like that. I guess you could count it as an exploit that we're using Cyberstyle as a skill for tribute decks and synchro, not really synchro decks, but you could put it in synchro decks. I should have tried that out, but we use Cyberstyle for tribute decks instead of using it for Cyber Dragon and everything like that. So I guess it is basically cheating in a sense, or it's like more like an exploit. It's not cheating at all. It was a completely legitimate skill to use, but we are technically exploiting it in a sense because that wasn't the intended use. But it's not our fault that Konami implemented Cyberstyle like that, and that's it wasn't basically cheating. I just think the basically cheating comment is just a little silly in my opinion. That's why I wanted to throw it in. And then this is my favorite comment from the video. You guys probably saw this on my Twitter if you guys follow that, which, by the way, shameless plug. Check out my Twitter, link in the description down below. But this comment was great. Stop crying. It was meant for Cyber Dragon deck. Konami, Jesus, thank you. I love you. Play the game like it's meant to be played. I hope Konami keeps this up and enforces this in the IRL TCG. This comment was all over the place, but I will say it did inspire me to make this video. Still, I mean, like I said on my points, I do agree with the Cyberstyle change. I just don't like, or not. Yeah, I agree with it. It's a good thing for the game, and it'll be healthy for the game in the future. I'm just sad that it happened, but yeah, stop crying about it. It's just... that's great right there. And then it was meant for a Cyber Dragon deck. Konami, Jesus, thank you. So I think what he's trying to say is that he's thankful to Konami. It really sucks. Like, I'm bad at grammar. I will be honest, I'm bad with grammar, but this guy's on a whole nother level when it comes to that. And it was meant for Cyber Dragon deck. And then he's trying to say that Konami is like, he's thankful for Konami and that. And then he also, I think on the After I Love You to Konami, he's telling me to play the game like it was meant to be played. With Yu-Gi-Oh, I think the creators actually want us to build unique decks. I don't think they're mad at the players for using Cyberstyle for multiple different creative decks. I mean, kind of the advertisement for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is to build infinite combinations and build infinite decks. So I think playing the game how it's meant to be played is a false statement, because you're supposed to try new strategies and build new decks and try to build really cool decks and be creative with it. So there's not a real way to play Duel Links. There's probably a more correct way to play Duel Links, but depending on your playstyle and how you play Duel Links, there's not really a correct way to play the game. So I thought that statement was just a little ridiculous in my opinion, and I hope Konami keeps this up and enforces this in the IRL TCG. I mean, to be honest though, with how the ban list has been working in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and everything like that, they're kind of, I think from what I've heard on the TCG, whenever we get a TCG, or whenever the players, because I'm not a TCG player, but whenever there's a new TCG ban list, sometimes they do a really good job of banning off a lot of really powerful decks, and then due to the fact that they banned off a bunch of powerful decks, then Konami basically needs to release new products and build new meta decks for the players and let players collect these new decks and everything like that. So I think Duel Links is kind of going the same route where they're banning a lot of the decks, not banning a lot of decks, but they're hitting a lot of the most popular decks in the game. And they, like I said, this last ban list, they killed off so many decks in my opinion. And just basically with that, they're probably going to be initially, you know, hyping up a new box that's going to be coming out soon. Because the fact that they killed off Amazon is for hire, not really Destiny Heroes, but they still really hurt the deck. Basically a lot of the, you know, popular decks in the game, how they hit them off like that, there's most likely going to be a new mini box or possibly main box, I'm not too sure at this point, that we're going to be getting in the game that's going to add a bunch of new meta decks and just everything like that. So yeah, and also tomorrow a maintenance is happening for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, so if there's any new information on the brand new box for the game, I'll be sure to make a video about that. Stay tuned to the channel. But still, this comment made me laugh. It was a very goofy comment in my opinion. Next up, we're going to talk about a completely different subject than Cyberstyle. We're actually going to be talking about Treacherous Trap Hole. So we have a couple comments on my video talking about Treacherous Trap Hole. One person says that this ban list does not do anything with Treacherous Trap Hole. And then someone else says, I'm really confused about Treacherous Trap Hole. You only can use it once, so many players put one in their deck. Now, I should have had Duel Links opened up for this video, but a little too late now. I'm already hitting that record button. But basically, let me try my best to kind of explain why Treacherous Trap Hole being on the semi-limit list is actually a pretty big deal. So with the semi-limit list, how it works in the game is that basically every single card that's on the semi-limit list, basically you're only able to run 2 cards from that whole list. So for example, if you want to play a first for hire deck after this new ban list comes into the game. Basically, what's going to happen is that since there's multiple for hire cards in the game, there's Dampa, Wiz in the semi-limit list. What it means is that you only can choose 2 cards from that whole list. So if you want to run Treacherous Trap, you're not going to be able to run Dampa or Wiz, or you're only going to be able to run 1 copy of Dampa or Wiz in your deck along with Treacherous Trap. Or if you want to play Hatredane and Treacherous Trap in your for hire deck, you're only going to be able to put Hatredane and Treacherous Trap in your deck, and you're not going to be able to run Dampa or Wiz because Dampa and Wiz are also in the same list. The reason why it's a semi-limit list is because they throw a bunch of cards into this list, and you're only able to pick 2 cards from that whole list to add them to your deck. And it's the same thing with the limit list, where there's a ton of cards in the limit list that are set to 1, and basically you're only able to run 1 card from that whole list and add it to your deck. So hopefully I kind of explained my best when it comes to how the semi-limit list works. I probably should have had Duel Links opened up to kind of show you what I mean, but yeah, you only can run 2 cards. If you're trying to pick cards from the semi-limit list, you're only able to put 2 cards from that whole list into your deck, and same thing with the limit list, except that you only can put 1 card from the whole list into your deck. And the reason why Treacherous Trap is a very big deal being on the semi-limit list is that now these meta decks that have a ton of their cards already on the semi-limit list, they're not able to run Treacherous Trap and Hatredane no more, simply because of the fact that if they want to use their other cards that are important for the deck and how their deck is synergized, they're not going to be able to fit Treacherous Trap unless they're going to make some sacrifices. So for example, with Amazoness Princess also being in the semi-limit list, what happens is that since Amazoness need Amazoness Princess in order to really get the deck going, because that's the #1 card, and why Amazoness is so good is because Amazoness Princess is so much pluses for the deck. Now that Amazoness Princess is set to 2, those Amazoness players that still want to play the deck after the ban list comes into the game, they're going to want to run 2 copies of Amazoness Princess because that's the max they're going to be able to do. And since you already used 2 of your slots from the semi-limit list, since Princess is on that list, you're not going to be able to fit in Treacherous Trap or Hatredane in the deck no more because you already filled up your slots with Amazoness Princess. So hopefully that's a little bit more clear. Like I said, I probably should have had Duel Links opened up for this video, but my bad right there. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better explanation on how the semi-limit list works and why Treacherous Trap is a big deal, because the meta deck just can't play Treacherous Trap no more. And then with the new decks that we're going to be getting in the game hopefully soon, we have no news on a new box yet, but most likely in the future we're going to get a new box soon, and those brand new decks are actually going to be able to run Treacherous Trap because most likely none of their cards are going to be on the semi-limit in the limit list. So there is that right there. That's why Treacherous Trap is a very big deal on the list, and it was definitely something that needed to be happening. Next up, we're going to be talking about another thing. A couple people that were talking about this, they're talking about mass change and how they want mass change to be nerfed to 2. Personally, I'm going to give you my personal opinion. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer when it comes to having mass change on the limit list, but in my personal opinion, I don't want mass change onto the limit list. I don't think Destiny heroes are that big of a deal, and the fact that they already hit Avalon in the first place is definitely just a hit enough for the deck altogether. And I'll talk about Avalon a little bit later, kind of rambling on a little bit right here. But I don't know, I think mass change should stay at 2 for one reason, in my opinion, is the fact that if they set it to 2, it would hurt future mass change monsters that are going to be added to the game, because we actually have a very limited pool when it comes to mass change. We only have mass change Anki, I think we have mass change, or just masked hero Goka, and Vapor. I think those are the 3. It's Anki is like a dark masked hero, there's a fire masked hero, and then a water masked hero, all of them right there. And basically, with mass change being hit to 2 right now, it wouldn't work out so well for any new mass change monsters that would be introduced into the game, because like we have a very limited list when it comes to the mass heroes, and I just feel like putting it to 2 would just not help it, and it just wouldn't give us options, and Konami might not consider adding new masked hero monsters in the future into the game. So that's kind of my thought right there. But still, at the same time, I do agree with you how it should be to 2, because Anki is a very powerful monster. You mass change into Anki with any hero monster that's a dark attribute, your opponent Anki destroys one of your monsters, and then they're able to search again for another mass change. So if mass change was only to 2, then basically what would happen is that players would only be able to run 2 Anki, and they wouldn't be able to run a lot of other cards as it is. Because I forgot to mention too that like we already have Destiny Hero Celestial on the semi-limit list, and we also already have Treacherous Trap and Hatredane on the semi-limit list. So at the same time, mass change being in a 2 would just hurt the deck and kill it off completely, when it doesn't need to. The deck got hurt really bad with Villain being set to 1, and Treacherous Trap, Hatredane, and Celestial are all at 2 in the semi-limit list. Having mass change to 2 would just kill off the deck completely, completely, and it just wouldn't able to work. So I rambling about this comment right here. I completely forgot about how the semi-limitless works. My bad, even though I just did a whole explanation on that. But there's like no point of having mass change it to, simply because of the fact that, you know, the Destiny heroes got hurt really bad. The only reason why they're able to OTK so easily is because of Hatred Aid being into the game, because Hatred Aid would just wipe out all the back row, and then they could go into Anki and just do a bunch of mass changes. But since they can't really run Hatred Aid anymore, or just not a lot of copies of Hatred Aid anymore, basically for you going against those Destiny hero players, you can probably most likely still have your back row to deal with Anki and other future problems right there. So mass change shouldn't be to 2. Still stand by the point though, where if they did put it to 2 in the first place, it just wouldn't work out, and there would be less of a chance to get future masked hero monsters into the game. So that's just kind of my thoughts and everything like that right there. But yeah, they shouldn't put it to 2 because Destiny heroes already got hit pretty bad, and they just wouldn't be able to add future monsters and stuff like that into the game. So there's that right there. But my bad about that. Kind of goofed up a little bit right there. I completely forgot about the semi-limitless. Next up, what we're going to talk about is Avalon. Just talk about a little bit about this. The Vision Hero Avalon is unfair because people buy the deck for Avalon, so they should do a refund. Personally, I don't think that Konami should do a refund just because they put a card on the on the limit list. Yes, it does suck that Avalon is going to be on the limit list, so for every player that has spent money on the Destiny Hero structure deck, if they had 2 or 3 copies of Avalon, they're not going to be able to use those 2 or 3 copies of Avalon that they paid for in their decks anymore, which does suck. I do understand where this person's coming from. It does suck right there that that did happen, but at the same time, I mean, you got to keep it real with you. I think most players are not going to be too mad about this. I feel like for the players that did spend the extra money to get multiple copies of Avalon and spend some money for Avalon shouldn't feel bad or sad about that, simply because of the fact that Destiny Hero structure deck has been out for a very long time now, and Avalon probably won't be on the list permanently, in my opinion. Eventually it'll get taken off sometime in the future, but the fact that they've been playing the deck for a very long time now, hopefully they got their money's worth out of it, and hopefully they got a lot of use out of Destiny or Vision Hero Avalon and got enough play time to where spending that money for the deck or for the card to get extra consistency was worth it for them and everything like that. So I mean, I hope that the players that you know, did spend money for the Vision Hero Avalon aren't going to be too mad about that, because like I said, they probably played the deck enough, they probably got their money's worth out of it, and they should just be kind of satisfied with that as it is, and they probably moved on to different decks as it is anyways. So even though the structure decks, because I mean, to be real here with the structure decks, you're not paying that much money to get X. I mean, to get a second copy of Avalon, it's like only $2 or anything like that, like guaranteed, and all the other cards in the Destiny Hero deck, so it's not that big of a deal in my opinion right there. So they shouldn't do a refund. That would be honestly really silly if they did a refund. The only thing that they could probably do is just give gems to all the players for that fact, maybe, I don't know, something like that, but doing a refund would just be a way too ridiculous. And the reason why they put it, you know, on the ban list, because it was pretty overpowered. And then I don't know, for anybody that's free to play, this doesn't bother them at all, because the free to play players can only get 1 copy of Avalon, so it doesn't really matter right there. So that's kind of my little ramble thoughts on that one right there. Shouldn't give a refund. It does suck that happened in the first place, but I hope that those pay to win are not pay to win, but pay to play players are satisfied with their purchase that they already did, and hopefully got their money's worth for Vision Hero Avalon by now. Hopefully they got their money's worth with that. So that's kind of my thought right there. Next up, we're going to talk about this right here. For hires are not dead. Still, they could be used for a synchro summon. I do agree. I have thought of different combos for hire synchro monsters using the new tuner from Rank PvP, the DD Sprite. I feel like that's a pretty solid card to go for synchro summons, and that would be really good. But the thing is that for hires would still be pretty dead, even if they did have synchro. Even though that you can synchro summon with for hires, it still wouldn't really help that much, because currently in the game we don't have any good synchro monsters that can really impact the meta right now. So currently right now, for hires are not going to be that good for synchro summoning, simply because of the fact that it's like, well, there's not really any good synchro monsters in the game yet to even be worth it to go into some synchro summoning with for hire. Maybe in the future, and maybe in future boxes, we'll get some really broken you know, generic synchro monsters to synchro summon into, and then for hires might see a comeback, because for hires still have their recon to pop back row. They can still run whiz if they want to. They can run there's like a couple combos that you can do where you can pop some of their back row with recon recon, search your deck for beat with beat, and just kind of just pop off, summon a bunch of for hires on the board, special summon a DD Sprite, and go for a synchro summon for a very powerful synchro monster. I feel like that could definitely be a combo in the future, but since we don't have any super powerful synchro monsters in the game currently, it's just not worth it right now. It's just not worth it to play for hire synchro monsters, just synchro for hire, simply because of the fact we don't have good synchro monsters. But in the future, keep a lookout for any future really good synchro monsters that we can summon easily and use the for hire combo to really pop off and really quickly get that monster onto the board. I think that would be definitely worth it in the game in the future, but currently right now, don't do it. In the future, consider it. So that's my opinion right there. And then we're next going to talk about this one right here. When's Spellbook in the ban list? Why Konami? Why didn't you ban list Spellbook, Konami? Personally, for me, I feel like they shouldn't hit Spellbooks at all. Spellbooks are not broken. The thing is that what's really cool about them is that they're able to banish anything turn 1 with Fate, but they're only able to use Fate once per turn. So that's kind of like their hindrance right there. And for the most part, with Silent Magician and the Spellbook deck, it's not very like powerful in the sense of damage. Like, for some games when you're playing Spellbooks, you're gonna take a while to defeat your opponent. Like, it's gonna take some effort to do that. It's not an OTK deck, and it's not a deck that's impossible to get over. So I personally don't think that they should ban Spellbooks right now. Maybe when the ban list does hit and Spellbooks, because Spellbooks did get a boost. Spellbooks did get a huge boost because of this ban list, because a lot of the decks that they already go against are getting hit pretty badly right now. So like, for example, Amazonas can mess up Spellbooks pretty easily. So the fact that Amazonas pretty much got killed off, not really, we still need to test them out when that comes out, but still, Amazonas got hit pretty bad, so Spellbooks will have an easier time with that. Anki, I think Destiny Heroes never, for me personally, when I played Spellbooks, Destiny Heroes were not a big deal to go against. And then for hires can be troublesome if you don't have Fate ready to go. So there's that. But I don't know, I don't think Spellbooks are broken, because it does take a little while to win the duel compared to some other decks that are able to OTK. But they did get a boost. I will say Spellbooks did get a boost, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did get hit in the next ban list, depending on what new cards we get from the new box and how good Spellbooks still would be. But currently right now, I don't think Spellbooks should be hit. They haven't done anything wrong, to be honest. Not a lot of people play the decks as it is, and it is kind of a slower deck to win. So that's just kind of my thoughts with that. I don't think it should get hit just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does get hit in the next ban list. So that's kind of my thoughts right there. And then the last comment we're going to talk about is a very mean comment. Cyberstein was a mistake. I agree. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. I didn't want it to be 20 minutes, but that's just kind of how it happened. But still, if you guys watch all the way to the end and you haven't already, hit that like button on the video down below and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links content. This was a ton of fun to do, and I think I would want to do more videos like these in the future, talking about my more opinions on the ban list and just talk about comments with you guys. So yeah, and I'd love to talk in the comment section of this video specifically. So if you guys have any thoughts and any counterpoints to my opinions, feel free to go to the comment section down below and just tell me your guys' thoughts. I'd love to get some discussion going with you guys and everything like that. But still, thank you guys for watching today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video, and I think I'll go see you guys in the next one. Peace out.